And Amy, maybe there is a psychological reason why there are so many fear-addled COVIDians. It's perhaps the difference in risk aversion between men and women. Maybe this is a contributing factor, not obviously the whole story. A new study out of Moscow, the Russians, finds that the brain scans show differences between men and women when it comes to their response to a risk aversion exercise. Each participant in the study had their brain's magnetic fields analyzed using a magnetoencephalography scan. And I'm doing this story because I wanted to say magnetoencephalography scan.
Okay.
Which magnetoencephalography.
Common spelling.
That was the name of my high school band.
A cover band for
Thomas Dolby.
Oh.
We killed with She Blinded Me with Science. And so here's the test. The test had a group select several mystery boxes out of a pile of 100 boxes, each containing a cash prize. Oh, it's like a game show. We love this when it comes to COVID-related vaccine lotteries. 100 boxes, each containing a cash prize. However, one of the boxes also contained a quote-unquote bomb that would wipe out all of the contestants' winnings. And it turns out men had a bigger appetite for risk. On average, men selected 48 boxes in comparison to just 40 boxes for women. So what are we to do about these risk-averse women? The anxiety they have with risk, Amy.
They're protecting the children.
Yeah, I know. It's all
Instead
for the
of
kids.
watching the news, they should read some articles. Because I was a COVIDian. I mean, you remember me.
Yeah, I know. You were a complete crackpot.
I was out of my mind.
Yeah.
And I washed my hands so much that they were bleeding. And I cried when I got Clorox wipes for Christmas from a friend.
Best
that
Christmas
was
ever.
that was really giving.
Well,
I mean, things that people did. That my friend, she was forced to pee and poop in a bucket in her parents' garage because they wouldn't let her in the house to use the bathroom for fear of germs. No, that's it. I'm saying that is probably the craziest story that I've heard.
All right, well, let's find out what else is wrong with women's brains.
Okay.
To help us do that, we're pleased to be now. This is a close call.
What?
You know, I only call medical doctors.
Right.
So Joe Biden is not a doctor. Your
Well,
PhD is not a doctor. I have a Juris Doctorate. I'm not a doctor.
Oh, so you are one.
No,
Dr.
no, I'm
Prout.
not. So licensed mental health counselor with a doctorate in counseling psychology.
I'm going to go with doctor.
All right, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Dr. Gregory Jantz joins us. He's the founder of the Center, A Place of Hope. The Center, A Place of Hope is the place. He's also the author of The Anxiety Reset, a life-changing approach to overcoming fear, stress, worry, panic attacks, OCD, and more. Dr. Gregory Jantz, how does it make you feel when I call you doctor?
Oh, good morning. You can call me whatever you need to. That point doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
I've been doing that. This is my 38th year. And we're seeing anxiety is at the all-time highs.
Well, how do you help patients and people that are just not ready to go back to the way life used to be?
Oh, my goodness. And are we ever seeing that? So we work with folks from all over the country. And one of the patterns that we're seeing right now, and it's that old tip of the iceberg, 2 years of a pandemic and what that did to our mental health. Now we're beginning to see addiction rates are at all-time highs. We've never seen addiction where it is now. Depression rates are all-time high. Anxiety disorders. So this has paralyzed people, and really in some regards, I use the word stronghold. It's got a stronghold on their lives, and it's still dictating their well-being.
So how do you?
That's what we're seeing.
Yeah. So how do you approach people that have irrational fears? I mean, there's a threat that exists, but their response is just disproportional to the threat, whether it's a virus or something else. What's the approach?
Well, one of the things, we have two choices. We can either be critical of them or show compassion. And today, when I see people, and I had a situation yesterday where I still saw a great deal of fear from somebody, and totally masked up the gloves, the whole bit. And it was fear. And so we have what's called irrational fears that have developed. They're not really based in reality, but it's created almost this obsessive compulsive disorder for folks that go because they don't know, they're not sure, and so they're afraid. And we've been told so many things over the last 2 years. And what's true? I don't know what's true, so I have to do this. And so people are still living. They're still living in some unknowns. They're still living in fear. They're still hearing contradictory information on vaccinations. They don't know what to believe or who to believe. Anytime you have that, you're going to have anxiety.
And so that should be received, or the response to that should be to ridicule them, to shame them, and tell them they're terrible people, right?
That's a whole.
That's my approach.
Criticism versus compassion.
Yeah.
And because we've got to win the trust back, and we've got to tell people that, hey, look, no, we really care. And many times a person has had things happen in their life. There's been trauma. There's emotional abuse, but there's been some trauma. And this whole thing now that we've all walked through is just another tipping point for them. So it's pushed them over the edge. And we really are at a mental health epidemic. There is a crisis. We have got young people who have failed academically. We have the highest suicide rates in the 12 to 17-year-old range. So we have a major mental health crisis, but that's not in the news. That's not in the forefront.
No.
But that's what people are facing.
I mean, I told Pritzker October 27th of 2020, there is not a psych bed within 60 miles of Chicago. People need help. There's 1,800 people on a waiting list at Lurie's Children's Hospital to take care of mental health issues. That's what we need. But we also need to get back to normal because that's killing us more than COVID is. But I wanted to ask you about parents, what are they conditioning their kids? So if you have somebody that's a COVIDian, how is that affecting their children?
Well, what we're doing, fear is generally something we've learned. And I love the study you mentioned because we're either learning fear or we're learning appropriate risk-taking. So kids have learned, and I'm making some general statements, but they've learned to be afraid of the world. This is a fearful place. In fact, we've got kids wearing masks, and there honestly is no reason to do that. That's only creating fear. And so we've conditioned them to be afraid. Well, fear always has a ripple effect. I get afraid in one area of my life, and then it begins to affect another area. So kids and normal socialization and things that need to be normal, that's been disrupted. And so we're going to see there's a price to pay for what we've done with kids.
And part of it is not, I think you suggest, is not just, overt fear-mongering. Be very afraid of this. This is lethal. This could kill you, so on and so forth. But it's also when people in positions of authority offer contradictory advice or reverse themselves and then reverse themselves again on best practices. That creates more anxiety and thus more fear because it's you're looking to the authority for the known, and what you're getting is the unknown.
Right, and then we don't know who to trust. And so if we keep changing the rules or telling us what's true and we don't know, it creates distrust. So we have a huge problem with distrust, with people and mental health issues, and I know that the need is great. And I really want to just say I'm so sorry for what has happened, because if you've struggled, this really could be pushing you over the edge still. And people need to know that there's hope available and there's help available.
All right. So what do you need to do today to recover your emotional and mental health?
Well, one of the first things we need to do is people have stopped caring for themselves in some very basic areas. Exercise, getting movement. When you're afraid, change your environment. Get outside. Change the room. Change the environment. Always mix movement with drinking water. You need to be careful what you're putting in your mouth. What's happened is people have started drinking alcohol at 2 in the afternoon because they were working at home. And so what's going in your mouth that is super important. Like the guy I talked to, who goes, I think I'm up to about 12 cups of coffee a day.
Ooh.
Well, that's not going to help you with your anxiety.
No.
So, some of the basics. What about sleep? I used to work in sleep research. What we're finding, and the term that we're hearing more of, is sleep epidemic. Sleep disorders now are peaking at all-time high because people are waking up during the night really having an anxiety attack, and their heart's racing, and they're going, what's happening? And they can't get back to sleep. So sleep stages have been disrupted.
You know it helps with sleeping? Drinking. That's how you solve
No,
that
you
problem.
think it does. But
No, I'm kidding. For people that you've treated that came in and they're sort of afraid of their shadow, and then they right themselves and they get better. What do they say sort of in response? Like, what was the key to bringing them out of their psychosis?
Well, yesterday somebody said this to me. They said, I wish I wouldn't have waited so long. I waited till things got so bad I couldn't function. So that's what we're hearing. You don't have to wait until you're on the edge. You don't have to wait because anxiety distorts reality. Fear begins to change how we perceive the world. Fear begins to change how we see ourselves. It creates self-doubt. You go to indecision. You're probably not doing things you want to be doing because you're afraid. So that's what fear does. Really, the word is, don't wait so long to get help. We can disrupt this cycle. Fear, living in fear, by the way, ultimately changes our body chemistry. So we need to look at, our brain chemistry, for example. We know that a pattern of fear will alter our brain chemistry. We can see this in SPECT scans of the brain. So it will have an effect on you in your life. And you don't have to live with that fear.
Dr. Gregory Jantz, licensed mental health counselor, founder of The Center, A Place for Hope, author of the book, The Anxiety Reset, a life-changing approach to overcoming fear, stress, worry, panic attacks, OCD, and more. Dr. Jantz, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, great to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
All right, so I've moved on from beatboxing, unsik, unsik, woo, 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 to scatting. Seriously, though, folks, now is the time to scat your way over to our good friends at